Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today's podcast will be over depression. I wanted to make a series on this, so hopefully, I can get some more people on here with me to speak about their experience with depression. But right now, I just jotted down a couple things to get the series started, and hopefully, um, people can watch this and take these little things that I've personally done in my life and um, implement it into their lives to hopefully live a better life. Um, I won't even say a better life, a happier life, a healthier life. We all struggle, we all go through dark days, and for a lot of people, it's a lot harder. For others, it's, a breeze. But the first thing that I jotted down was acknowledge the cause of your depression. So once you acknowledge the cause of your depression, you are now able to dissect it. You are now able to find different ways to start to defeat it. So with me, my depression was losing family members, not feeling good enough, um, just having a whole bunch of insecurities within myself that caused me to not live life to the fullest. So with the first one of losing family members, the I'm really not sure why that was a big thing. I haven't lost anyone significant in, I'm not sure how long. But to me, as a child, that was one of the big things with me. I always worried that I couldn't, prevent the cause of death, if that makes sense. And that always made me, um, I wouldn't say like shelter myself from other people. I still had relationships with my family and other friends, but I tried to exclude myself from a lot of things so I didn't have to worry as much. Especially with my grandmother. My grandmother's been like a really big part of my life for the longest, and knowing that she's getting up there in age really scared me for a long time. We were at a grocery store one day, and I just started crying, just knowing that one day that presence would be gone. But in order for me to acknowledge that, I had to put it. So for me, with depression, I had to look at myself. I had to look at myself in the mirror because that's the only person that is causing me to feel this way. There's other outside things that may influence, but me myself is the root of that problem. So I had to look at myself and understand that instead of being upset or sad that someone you love dearly will not be here anymore, you have to make the best of what you have as of now. Make sure you call them more. Make sure you spend time with them more. Because if you exclude yourself, now you are losing out on memories and opportunities that you could have made. And then the second one, I think it was not feeling good enough. Sorry, y'all. So another thing about this podcast is we just go with the flow. I don't remember a lot of the things I'm talking about, even though I write it down. I should stop smoking, maybe. But anyway, me not feeling good enough. I'm the oldest of five and was raised by a single mother for the majority of my life, and having different like mental abuse things that was said to me by a lot of people that I grew up with, it made me feel less than. It made me feel like the world would be better off without me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have felt that way as well. But for me, it wasn't the sense of like I needed to kill myself. It was the feeling of just like hopelessness that I'm going to be a disappointment. I was even told that I was going to die alone. So having all these things working against me, it made me feel like there was no hope for me to succeed. But again, I acknowledge that I am worthy of love. I am worthy of being happy. If you guys follow me, I do have a son. I do have a family that loves and supports me. So once you get rid of the lies and you get rid of all the pain and the hate, then you start to actually see that oh, excuse me, you were actually able to see that the good that is always surrounding you outweighs the hate that is inside of you. That was a bar. I feel you. Anyway, the second one is work to find things that help you cope with that said depression or that said cause. And with me, I of course started podcasting. The reason I started podcasting is to get stuff off my chest, to get stuff out into the world so that people like me or like you can find someone similar. You know, it's easier to talk to a friend or it's easier to talk to somebody who understands you. So this was one thing that I did to make myself feel important. And what I did, I probably already answered this in the last one, but what I did to cope with people losing, or for me losing people, I'll probably just go with another answer. I I started leaving it to God. Um, and what I mean by that is that He will He will do whatever He wants when He wants. And with that with that truth, I started to step away and let the creator create or the creator destroy. And it, for me, I don't know why it made me happier knowing that any day could be my last. Therefore, now I can continue having the best day ever every day because I'm no longer taking that day for granted. I'm no longer taking the people that I have for granted. So that was the big thing. Even if you don't believe in God, just understand that being human, being in this world, there's a lot of things that are out of our control. But what is in our control is how we handle said things or how we go about changing, things that we already do. An example, seeing people more or calling somebody just to say you love them. It doesn't even have to be a conversation. So the third one was daily affirmation. On earlier podcasts, I stated that um, the man that I was before podcasting, before I started smoking, I was a very depressed person. I was a very bad boyfriend to the son of my mother. I was overall not as good as I wanted to be or needed to be, especially for her at that time. So what I had to do is I had to face the monster that was living inside of me. So I was in my car one day, pulled down the rearview mirror, and looked at myself. I hid away from myself for I'm not sure how long, just because the person that I felt was looking back at me wasn't the person that I knew. So I was always scared that that person would completely take over, even though it was ruling my life. Depression, anxiety, just overall, I don't want to say evil because I wasn't an evil person. I just wasn't the best of men. But yes, those things were just ruling my life, and I had to look myself in the mirror and defeat that person, defeat the evil me. And I told myself that I forgive myself for the things that I allowed people to do to me and that I allowed myself to do to others. And it didn't take, one time. It didn't take like 5 or 20, but I said it the, sorry, I'm trying to sound philosophical. I said it the amount of times that was needed, whichever number that is for you. Could differ from me, could differ from somebody else, but you have to understand that loving yourself comes before anything else. Um, destruction always comes before creation, and I believe doing that would really set you on the right path to understanding yourself, understanding that depression is not a set in stone thing, that it is meant to be conquered. It will be conquered, and just just little things like you're worthy, you're handsome, you're beautiful, you can do it. And you just have to keep reminding yourself that if no one else is rooting for you, you have to root for you. And that was a big thing that I learned on my journey to defeat depression. Um, I also have another podcast called Defeating Yourself if you want to go check that out as well. And then the second one, okay, wow, I can't read my handwriting. The fourth one was reassurance that everything will be okay. Um, yeah, with me, just knowing that at the end of the day, if I'm still alive, if I'm still breathing, the next day will be better than the next. And even though that storm will probably still be there, or the people will still pass away, you will still feel lonely, you'll still feel unwanted. Just knowing that if you continue to fight, continue to seek refuge in happiness and love, that eventually you'll be okay. You know, a lot of people get upset or discouraged that the finish line is so far away, but if you take steps every day, or multiple steps every day or every other day, whichever one's comfortable for you, you are now getting closer to that finish line and further from that beginning. So again, reassurance that everything will be okay, knowing that you are stronger than you understand or that you realize, stronger than this depression, because people overall are good. You know, there's a lot of bad people, bad things in the world, but overall we are good. I've seen goodness in this world. I've seen goodness inside of me. Uh, I've seen goodness inside of my 2 year old son. So to me, that's really the big thing. You know, once you find that happiness and the understanding that things will be okay, I think is like closing in on defeating that person within inside of you, or that hate or that sadness which is inside of you. The fifth thing is support with like different groups of friends or other people who are going through the same thing. I have this podcast with this oh my goodness, singer slash rapper named Frank Thompson, and he was telling me that he was like 5, 6, 7 years sober or something of that sort. And there was one time he was about to slip, and he went to an AA meeting, which is like Alcohol Anonymous. And that right there really boosted me in my journey to become a better man, because it takes a very strong individual to seek help wherever he or she can find it. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys. If you have a group of friends that you trust or that you love, make sure you tell them what's wrong. Make sure you tell them that you're sad. Make sure you tell them that you're broken, that you can't do it on your own. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what a lot of people, especially in the black community, we do not want to admit defeat. We do not want to admit that we can't do something, because forever it was do it on your own, grow up, be strong. In my case, be a man, stop being a punk. But it is okay to fail. It is okay to hurt. Um, Kevin Gates said it the best. He said, the most vulnerable thing a man can do is show emotion. And I believe that 100%. So find those people, even if you don't have a group of friends or family members like Frank, find other people that are in your community that will support you like family, that will support you like a friend. And once you find those people, now you start to see, like I said earlier, goodness in people. You start to see that this is obtainable. Um, that deep depression has an end. It has a light at the end of the tunnel, and with more people being involved in your life, the brighter that light will become. And number six will be the last one. With me, this is the big thing, and it's motivate yourself. Motivate yourself to try something new. Motivate yourself to think happy thoughts. Motivate yourself to love yourself a lot more than you already do. And for me, that was a scary thing, because how can I love myself if I was a bad boyfriend? How can I love myself if I was a bad son, a bad citizen? But I had to understand that if I don't love myself, how can I implement love into the world? How can I show my son love? And I don't know, I'm really glad that I did this podcast, because understanding that something so powerful, such as depression, that cause people to end their lives, to cause people to lose family, to lose everything, knowing that if they only had somebody to talk to, they only had six things to do, maybe they would still be here. Maybe they could have found that happiness. So I'm really looking forward to what this series will become, and I hope you guys are excited to join this journey with me. But yeah, it's a really short one today, and that's really all I have. I just again motivated myself to make this podcast. I was waiting on a guest to make it a little easier. I'm still new with just talking to the camera, as you guys can see, but I'm gonna keep this with me, even though I just wrote it down today. I'm gonna keep this with me, and hopefully we can continue making a difference. Hopefully we can continue pouring into other people, pouring love and positivity into others. And maybe one day depression will be an afterthought. Maybe it'll be history one day. But until then, the war on depression and anxiety begins. And as for me and my house, we'll continue to help others, to help ourselves, and to love as much as we can. But from me to you all, may your pain be champagne. You are loved. You are worthy. You are beautiful. You are kind. You are everything positive in this world, and you are nothing negative.